Welcome back, everyone, to another remarkable journey into the hidden world of gemstones, where wealth, history, and mystery collide. Today, we count down the top 10 gemstones that beat gold in 2026. You already know gold has been the ultimate symbol of value for thousands of years. But what if I told you there are stones so rare, so misunderstood, that they now outprice gold gram for gram? Some are legendary, passed through empires and ancient kings. Others were only discovered in the last few decades, yet have risen to the very top of the global market. From glowing neon crystals hidden in Brazilian hillsides, to fiery red gems once guarded in Burmese palaces, each stone on this list holds a story that could change how you think about value itself. And trust me, you do not want to miss the gemstone ranked number one. Its ability is unlike any other in nature. And if you're considering investment, overlooking it could be the most expensive mistake of your life. So stay with me until the end, because the closer we get to the top, the more surprises build up. And if this is your first time here on World of Gem, welcome to the community. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more journeys into the extraordinary side of gemstones. Now, let's begin the countdown. Rank 10, Serendibite, the phantom blue of Sri Lanka. Hidden deep in the highland quarries of Sri Lanka, a stone emerges so rare that most gemologists only know it from textbooks. Its name is Serendibite. First discovered in 1902 near Ratnapura, the legendary city of gems. This mineral exists in such limited supply that even veteran dealers can go their entire careers without seeing a single crystal. In 2026, it has become one of the most whispered about gemstones in elite circles, because for every gram of Serendibite, collectors are willing to pay more than the price of pure gold. The story begins in Sri Lanka, historically known as Serendib, a name given by Arab traders centuries ago. The island has long been a crossroads of gem trade, sapphire, spinel, garnet, all flowing through its markets. But in rare pockets of gravel and alluvial deposits around Ratnapura, something different appeared. Small, dark crystals that, when cut with patience, revealed an otherworldly blue unlike any other mineral on Earth. Extraction has never been industrial. Serendibite is found in small-scale diggings, riverbeds, and hillside pits, where local miners sift through gravel in hopes of spotting even a fragment. The difficulty is not only its scarcity, but also its deceptive appearance. In its rough form, it can resemble common spinel or corundum. Only with trained eyes and laboratory tests can its true identity be confirmed. That challenge means much of Serendibite's story is shaped by chance, by the fortune of discovery. Visually, it is a gem of restraint, deep midnight blue, sometimes shading into greenish tones, with a vitreous luster that seems to glow when struck by intense light. Most pieces are opaque, unsuitable for faceting. However, the rare transparent crystals, often smaller than half a carat, become treasures when they are cut and polished. Under the lapidary's hand, they reveal a sleek, glassy surface, an elegance born not from size but from impossibility. Imagine a stone so brittle, so resistant to polishing, that every finished gem feels like a triumph against nature. Why does Serendibite stand among the top 10 gemstones that beat gold in 2026? The answer lies in three pillars. First, absolute scarcity. Documented transparent stones weigh only a handful of carats worldwide, making each one a geological miracle. Second, collector prestige. Auction houses in Hong Kong and Geneva have quietly recorded bidding wars where tiny faceted gems sold for sums greater than stacks of gold bars. And fourth, cultural symbolism. The very name Serendibite is tied to the origin of the word serendipity, the idea of rare, fortunate discovery. To own one is to hold a fragment of history, chance, and exclusivity crystallized into a single stone. This is why, in 2026, Serendibite is not just a mineral. It is an icon of wealth and rarity, eclipsing gold in both price and mystique. And if you also find Serendibite's quiet power surprising, leave your thoughts in the comments. Would you choose this mysterious blue gem over a bar of gold? As someone who has followed the intersection of archaeology and gems, Serendibite reflects more than market value. It represents how cultures prize the unseeable, the nearly unattainable, and elevate them above even the most stable measures of wealth. Yet the final word belongs to you. Which gemstone do you believe will overtake even diamonds as the ultimate measure of wealth in 2026? Rank 9, Painite. From rarest mineral to auction obsession. When the British mineralogist Arthur C.D. Payne first examined a small reddish-brown crystal in Myanmar during the 1950s, he had no idea that the stone, later named Painite, would be crowned by the Guinness Book of World Records as the rarest gemstone on Earth. For nearly half a century, only 2 specimens were known to exist. In 2026, despite the discovery of additional sources, Painite remains so scarce and coveted that in certain auctions, its price per carat has surged far beyond that of pure gold. The story of Painite begins in the Mogok region of Myanmar, a valley already legendary for producing pigeon blood rubies and fine spinel. The very first tiny crystal pulled from this gem-rich terrain baffled scientists. Its hexagonal prism shape resembled corundum, but its chemistry did not fit. For decades, other fragments were misidentified as garnet or spinel before laboratories confirmed the truth. Painite was a new mineral, unique and previously unseen in gem-quality form. Mining painite has never been industrial. It is extracted only by small-scale manual methods, from narrow shafts, hillside diggings, or alluvial gravels washed down from Mogok. Even after later reports of deposits in Myanmar's Kachin state, the number of transparent crystals large enough for faceting remained minuscule. Miners understood the odds. Sifting through weeks of gravel might yield nothing, and a single gem-quality crystal was already considered a triumph. In terms of appearance, painite shows reddish-brown to orange-brown hues, sometimes tinged with pink or violet under shifting light. When cut, it reveals a vitreous to subadamantine luster, unexpected brilliance for a stone so often mistaken in its rough form. Its hexagonal crystals can be elongated, giving it a deceptively similar appearance to ruby or spinel. That visual ambiguity, caught between the familiar and the unknown, only adds to painite's mystique. Why does painite stand among the top 10 gemstones that beat gold in 2026? 3 reasons define its place. First, the legacy of rarity. For decades, only 2 specimens existed in global collections. That reputation as the rarest mineral has never left painite, even after new finds. Second, collector prestige. At auctions in Hong Kong and Geneva, faceted stones over 1 carat spark fierce bidding wars. In 2026, painite is treated not merely as a gem, but as a piece of history crystallized. Third, value compared to gold. While gold is mined by the ton, painite appears in fragments. Gram for gram, a fine painite can outstrip the value of gold many times over. This is not a gem available to the mainstream market. Painite exists as a narrow gateway, accessible only to those collectors willing to pay a premium for absolute scarcity. And if painite's journey from obscurity to record-breaking fame came as a surprise to you, please let me know in the comments. Would you view this deep reddish-brown stone as a safer bet than a bar of gold? From the perspective of archaeology and gem history, painite represents more than mineralogy. It reflects how scarcity itself becomes currency, how the story of only 2 known specimens transformed into a global obsession. Which gemstone, in your opinion, could be crowned the next rarest of the rare after 2026? Rank 8, Musgravite, the elusive gray-violet jewel. In the deserts of South Australia, within the barren Musgrave Ranges, a discovery was made in 1967 that would reshape the hierarchy of rarity in the gem world. It was a stone so little understood that decades passed before gemologists could even classify it correctly. Its name, Musgravite. In 2026, this elusive gemstone still commands awe, because for every faceted carat, investors are willing to pay multiples of what the same weight in gold could fetch. The geographic origin of Musgravite is unmistakable. The first specimens were discovered in the Musgrave Ranges, a remote and arid region located in central Australia. Later, trace deposits surfaced in Greenland, Madagascar, and Tanzania. Yet even with these additional localities, the total global supply of transparent, fastable musgravite remains astonishingly small. In most collections, the gem is measured not in dozens of carats, but in mere handfuls. Extraction is painstaking. Musgravite does not appear in rich veins or predictable seams. Instead, it is retrieved from alluvial deposits and pegmatite outcrops, often mixed with other minerals from the taphite family. Local miners typically stumble upon fragments while searching for spinel or chrysoberyl. Identifying musgravite requires advanced testing, as its optical and chemical properties closely mimic those of its relatives. Without modern spectroscopy, countless crystals might have passed unnoticed, mislabeled as something far less valuable. In appearance, musgravite strikes a balance between subtlety and brilliance. Its most prized colors range from grayish-violet to soft greenish tones, with a transparent to translucent body that can display surprising brightness when cut. The crystals are often elongated or irregular, making them intricate for lapidaries to fashion into gems without significant loss of material. That difficulty adds to the exclusivity. Every finished musgravite gem is a triumph of precision, patience, and luck. So why does musgravite stand among the top 10 gemstones that beat gold in 2026? The reasons are clear. Unmatched scarcity. Gemological surveys suggest that fewer than 20 faceted musgravite stones larger than 5 carats are known worldwide. That level of rarity pushes its value above traditional benchmarks. Collector magnetism. At auction, whispers of a musgravite lot are enough to trigger bidding wars. Private buyers seek it not only for its beauty, but for the status of owning what others cannot. Market psychology. Gold's supply may fluctuate with mines and markets, but musgravite's supply is fixed by geology itself. That immovable scarcity creates a premium that only intensifies with time. In 2026, musgravite is not simply a gemstone. It is an asset of invisibility, a store of value defined less by public recognition and more by the silent competition of high-end collectors. Gram for gram, the finest pieces are not just on par with gold, they eclipse it. And if you find it surprising that such a muted gray-violet stone can command more than one of humanity's oldest measures of wealth, leave your impressions in the comments. Would you, given the choice, prefer a musgravite no larger than your thumbnail or a gleaming bar of gold? From the perspective of archaeology and gem history, musgravite represents the intersection of chance and endurance. A mineral overlooked for decades, elevated by science, and now enshrined as one of the rarest possessions a person can hold. Which gemstone do you believe deserves the crown as the most underrated rarity in 2026? One that might still be hiding in plain sight? Rank 7. Paraíba Tourmaline, the neon fire of Brazil. In 1989, deep in the hills of Paraíba State in northeastern Brazil, miners uncovered crystals unlike anything they had ever seen. They glowed, not figuratively, but with an inner neon intensity that seemed to light themselves from within. These were Paraíba tourmalines, a gemstone so electrifying in color that it redefined the global tourmaline market overnight. And in 2026, the finest Paraíbas remain among the most valuable gems on Earth, commanding prices per carat that regularly surpass the worth of gold. The geography of Paraíba tourmaline begins in Brazil, where tiny pegmatite deposits near the town of São José da Batalha yielded the first stones. Unlike ordinary tourmaline, Paraíbas owe their vivid glow to trace amounts of copper and manganese, creating colors that range from electric blue to green and turquoise. Within a few years, word of their discovery spread worldwide, and collectors realized that something truly new had entered the gem trade. Later, small deposits were identified in Mozambique and Nigeria. These stones, though also colored by copper, rarely match the intensity of Brazil's finest. To this day, connoisseurs distinguish classic Paraíba from African counterparts, with Brazilian specimens commanding far higher premiums. But even in Mozambique and Nigeria, supply is minimal, never approaching the vast production of sapphires or rubies. Mining Paraíba tourmaline is arduous. The pegmatites are narrow, shallow, and unpredictable in nature. Miners use hand tools, chiseling through stubborn rock for days with no guarantee of finding a single gem. The crystals are often fractured or small, facetable rough above a few carats is exceedingly rare. Every polished stone is the product of both geological accident and human persistence. Visually, Paraíba tourmalines are unforgettable. Their colors are unlike any other gem, an electric blue-green that seems almost fluorescent, even in low light. The effect is so distinctive that gemologists coined the term neon tourmaline to describe it. Shapes vary, but cutters often fashion them into ovals or cushions to maximize both size and brilliance. A fine stone over 5 carats is not just rare, it is virtually a miracle. Why does Paraíba tourmaline rank among the top 10 gemstones that beat gold in 2026? Rarity of origin. The Brazilian deposits are nearly depleted. Stones that once originated from Paraíba now appear only in private collections or estate sales. Auction prestige. In Geneva, Hong Kong, and New York, Paraíbas with vivid saturation have set record-breaking prices per carat, often rivaling or surpassing those of high-end rubies and sapphires. Emotional demand. Unlike gold valued for stability, Paraíba tourmaline is prized for beauty and uniqueness. Its neon glow cannot be replicated by synthetic means, making natural stones irreplaceable. In 2026, owning a Paraíba tourmaline is not just about wealth, it is about exclusivity. Collectors chase them not for size, but for the impossible saturation of color that no other gemstone can rival. Gram for gram, the best Paraíbas sell for more than gold, platinum, or even many diamonds. And if you also find it astonishing that a stone discovered less than 40 years ago now outpaces gold in value, share your thoughts in the comments. Would you rather invest in a glowing neon tourmaline, the size of a fingernail, or in the enduring safety of gold? From an archaeological perspective, Paraíba tourmaline illustrates how quickly human culture can elevate a discovery. Unlike ancient rubies or emeralds, Paraíbas have no centuries of legend behind them, only 3 decades of history. Yet in that short span, they have achieved a prestige equal to the world's oldest gems. Which gemstone do you think could become the next Paraíba in 2026? A modern discovery that overturns centuries of tradition. Rank 6. Tanzanite, the one-generation gem. On the slopes of Mount Kilimanjaro, where volcanic forces once tore open the Earth's crust, a discovery in 1967 revealed a gemstone destined to captivate the world. Brilliant violet-blue crystals shimmered from the soil, so striking that Tiffany and Company quickly branded them with a single name, Tanzanite. Today, nearly 60 years later, Tanzanite stands not only as one of the most beautiful gems ever mined, but in 2026 as one of the few stones whose finest examples now surpass gold in value. The geography of Tanzanite is unlike any other gemstone. Found exclusively in a narrow strip of land near the Miralani Hills in northern Tanzania, its entire global supply comes from a deposit that is barely 7 kilometers long and 2 kilometers wide. Geologists estimate that once this zone is exhausted, no new Tanzanite will appear elsewhere. That geological exclusivity gives Tanzanite a lifespan unlike gold, which can be mined across continents. In effect, Tanzanite is a one-generation gem, limited to those who act while the mines still yield. Mining Tanzanite is a dangerous and physically demanding process. The deposits occur in deep, narrow tunnels, some of which descend hundreds of meters underground. Local miners work in tight shafts with minimal machinery, enduring poor ventilation and the constant risk of collapse. Unlike diamonds or sapphires that can be found in multiple global regions, Tanzanite's singular source means its extraction relies entirely on the stability of this one area. Any disruption, political, geological, or economic, directly affects the world's supply. Visually, Tanzanite is unforgettable. Its most prized quality is trichroism, the ability to display 3 different colors depending on the angle of light: deep blue, rich violet, and flashes of burgundy. This optical effect gives every faceted stone a dynamic life that seems to shift with every movement. Cutters must orient the crystal carefully to bring out the most saturated blue-violet, often sacrificing size to maximize beauty. Fine Tanzanite over 5 carats, with pure, vivid color and minimal inclusions, is rare and highly prized. So why does Tanzanite earn its place among the top 10 gemstones that beat gold in 2026? Finite supply. Unlike gold, which is mined in many regions worldwide, Tanzanite's supply is limited to a single small geological pocket. Experts predict that the deposit could be depleted within a few decades, if not sooner. Market recognition. Thanks to Tiffany's branding, Tanzanite quickly became a household name in the jewelry world. That brand power keeps demand alive across markets, from New York to Tokyo. Investment edge. Because of its rarity and finite lifespan, fine Tanzanite is no longer just a jewel. It is an asset that, gram for gram, already surpasses gold in elite auctions and private sales. In 2026, Tanzanite symbolizes urgency. Unlike diamonds or sapphires, it does not have centuries of reserves. Its beauty is fleeting, tied to a specific locality in a particular timeline. Collectors and investors are aware of this, and that urgency drives prices higher each year. If you also find it astonishing that a gem discovered less than 60 years ago can now compete with and often outshine the value of gold, share your impressions in the comments. Would you choose a vivid violet blue Tanzanite over the stability of bullion? From an archaeological perspective, Tanzanite serves as a reminder of how geology influences culture. One volcanic event, millions of years ago, set the stage for a gem that humanity would discover only once in its history. Its rarity is not a matter of myth, but of measurable geology, and that makes its story even more compelling. Do you believe Tanzanite's legacy will grow after the mines close, or will its value fade once the last crystal is extracted? Rank 5. Diamonds. The colors that surpassed gold. For centuries, diamonds have symbolized permanence and power, but in 2026, it is not the ordinary white diamond that commands the most tremendous respect. It is the rarest of their kind, fancy-colored diamonds in vivid blue, pink, and red that now outstrip gold by extraordinary margins. In the world of high auctions, a single carat of such diamonds can fetch millions, rewriting the hierarchy of wealth itself. The geography of these diamonds is scattered but precise. The legendary Golconda mines of India produced historic white diamonds centuries ago. But today, the world's most coveted colored stones come from just a handful of places. The Argyle mine in Western Australia became famous for its intense pinks before closing in 2020, leaving collectors scrambling for what remains. The Cullinan mine in South Africa continues to yield rare blue diamonds, while Brazil and Russia have produced occasional green and yellow diamonds. Each source is finite, with no guarantee that future mining will provide replacements. Mining conditions are intense. Extracting a single fancy diamond requires moving hundreds of tons of ore, often through open pit or deep underground operations. For every 1,000 carats of rough mined, one may qualify as a gem-grade diamond. And for every 10,000, maybe one may show the vivid saturation of a fancy blue or pink. That level of improbability makes these stones rarer than almost any other natural material humans value. In appearance, fancy-colored diamonds redefine the familiar. The Oppenheimer blue, a 14.6 carat vivid blue, stunned the Geneva auction world when it sold for over $57 million. The Pink Star, a flawless, vivid pink weighing 59.6 carats, broke records at $71 million. Even tiny red diamonds, usually less than half a carat, have fetched hundreds of thousands per stone. Their hues, shaped by trace elements or distortions in the crystal lattice, give diamonds a new identity, no longer symbols of uniformity, but of individuality. So why do diamonds, specifically fancy colors and exceptional whites, stand among the top 10 gemstones that beat gold in 2026? Extreme rarity of color. Gold is finite, but colored diamonds are geological accidents. The closure of Argyle alone ensures pink diamonds will only rise in value. Auction dominance at Sotheby's. Rank 4. Emerald, the green fire of Colombia. Across the rugged Andes of Colombia, a gem has been shaping economies, myths, and empires for centuries. Its color is unmistakable. Emerald green, deep and vivid, a tone that seems to hold the essence of life itself. Among the Muzo and Chivor mines, some of the world's most exceptional emeralds have been unearthed. And in 2026, the finest examples commanded prices that surpassed even gold. The geography of Colombian emeralds is critical to their story. Unlike most gemstones, which form in igneous or volcanic environments, emeralds are formed in black shale and limestone, veins that were injected with beryllium-rich fluids millions of years ago. The Muzo region, located 200 kilometers north of Bogota, has been dubbed the emerald capital of the world. From these hills come crystals so saturated and transparent that gemologists classify them as museum quality. Mining emeralds is notoriously tricky. The veins are thin, unpredictable, and treacherous, often hidden within unstable rock. For centuries, indigenous people extracted crystals using simple tools, long before Spanish colonists turned emerald mining into an imperial enterprise. Even today, modern operations rely heavily on manual labor. Explosives loosen the rock, but locating an emerald pocket still depends on a miner's intuition and luck. For every ton of shale removed, only a few grams of gem-quality emerald may emerge. Visually, Colombian emeralds are unrivaled. The finest stones exhibit a pure, vivid green with no secondary yellow or blue tones. Their transparency allows light to flood through, creating a glow that radiates from within. Large crystals above 10 carats, free of fractures, are so rare that they are celebrated like national treasures. Famous specimens, the 1,383 carat Fura emerald or the 632 carat Teodora, demonstrate how these stones inspire awe not only in collectors, but in entire nations. So why do emeralds, especially Colombian ones, stand among the top 10 gemstones that beat gold in 2026? Unparalleled rarity of quality. While emeralds are mined in Zambia, Brazil, and Afghanistan, none match Colombia's combination of saturation and clarity. High-grade Colombian stones consistently outprice their rivals. Historical prestige. From Inca rituals to Spanish crowns, emeralds have carried cultural weight for centuries. That legacy, reinforced by royal treasuries and museums, adds symbolic value far beyond their chemical makeup. Market performance. Auction houses in New York, London, and Geneva regularly report record prices for Colombian emeralds, especially those certified with minimal treatment. In 2026, fine emeralds per carat often surpass the price of bullion. Emeralds are not just commodities. They are symbols of endurance and exclusivity. Gold may be melted, standardized, and weighed, but every emerald is individual, with inclusions that gemologists call jardins or gardens. These microscopic features do not diminish value. They authenticate the gem as natural, unique, and tied to its geological birthplace. And if you too find it remarkable that a green crystal pulled from fragile shale in the Andes can outshine gold in both prestige and price, let me know in the comments. Would you choose to hold a flawless Colombian emerald or the steady weight of a gold ingot? From an archaeological perspective, emeralds demonstrate how minerals become entwined with civilization. For the Muzo people, the offerings were made to the gods. For the Spanish, they were the spoils of conquest. For today's collectors, they are both relics and investments, objects where history and geology converge. Do you believe emeralds will continue to dominate the luxury market in 2026? Or will another green gemstone, like jadeite, rise to challenge their crown? Rank 3. Sapphire. The blue legends and the flame of Padparadscha. High in the Himalayas, amid remote valleys cloaked in snow, a single deposit once produced sapphires so intense in color that they became the benchmark for all others. These were the Kashmir sapphires, unearthed in the late 19th century, their velvety blue unlike anything found before or since. Alongside them, in Sri Lanka, a rare pink-orange variety known as Padparadscha glowed with the warmth of a tropical sunset. Together, these sapphires stand in 2026 as some of the most valuable gems in the world, often surpassing gold in price per carat. The geography of sapphire rarity spans multiple lands but centers on two legendary sources. In northern India's Kashmir region, deposits discovered in the 1880s yielded only a few decades of production before being exhausted. Today, genuine Kashmir stones are recovered only from old collections, making them geological relics. Meanwhile, Sri Lanka continues to produce sapphires of many hues, but true Padparadscha, defined by its delicate mix of pink and orange, is so scarce that only a few appear on the market each year. Madagascar and Myanmar provide additional fine sapphires, but the prestige of Kashmir and Padparadscha remains unmatched. Mining sapphires is laborious. In Kashmir, miners once worked at altitudes above 4,000 meters, braving freezing winds and treacherous terrain. The deposit has long since closed, leaving only historical production to testify to its greatness. In Sri Lanka, sapphires are extracted from alluvial gravels, where artisanal miners wash river sands for weeks, hoping to uncover a glint of color. Even in Madagascar, where deposits are larger, the proportion of fine, vividly colored stones is vanishingly small. Visually, sapphires offer a spectrum of beauty. The Kashmir blue is renowned for its soft, velvety texture, a combination of deep saturation and subtle light scattering that no other origin can replicate. By contrast, Padparadscha sapphires shimmer with a fusion of lotus pink and fiery orange hues, so balanced that gemological labs must carefully certify them to distinguish actual stones from ordinary pink or orange sapphires. Large, flawless sapphires of either type are rarely seen, and when they appear, they make headlines. Why do these sapphires belong among the top 10 gemstones that beat gold in 2026? Vanishing supply. Kashmir sapphires are no longer mined. Every existing stone comes from old collections, making them rarer each year. Padparadscha production is equally limited, with genuine examples representing only a fraction of the global sapphire trade. Auction performance. Record-breaking sales at Sotheby's and Christie's have demonstrated that Kashmir and Padparadscha sapphires have surpassed the price of gold many times over, especially when accompanied by certificates of origin. Cultural symbolism. Across Asia and Europe, sapphires have long been associated with wisdom, royalty, and divine favor. When tied to such rarity, their prestige grows beyond measurable value. In 2026, sapphires remind us that beauty is not just about brilliance, but about depth and subtlety. While diamonds may sparkle, sapphires captivate with richness of tone, a quality that collectors are willing to pay dearly for. Gram for gram, the best Kashmir and Padparadscha stones command sums that gold cannot approach. And if you find it remarkable that stones once pulled from riverbeds and icy peaks now outshine gold bars in value, share your thoughts in the comments. Would you choose the velvety depth of Kashmir blue or the rare fire of Padparadscha? From an archaeological perspective, sapphires illustrate how geography and culture intersect. The Himalayas gave us a blue that cannot be repeated. Sri Lanka gave us a color that nature balanced with impossible precision. Both now belong not just to gemology, but to history itself. Which sapphire do you believe will hold its crown longer in 2026? The legendary Kashmir or the elusive Padparadscha? Rank 2. Ruby, the flame that outshines gold. In the heart of Myanmar's Mogok Valley, a gemstone has burned with such intensity that for centuries it was called the king of gems. Its name is ruby, and in its finest form, known as pigeon blood ruby, its color has been compared not to firelight, but to life itself. In 2026, rubies of this caliber rank among the most valuable natural treasures in existence, with prices per carat soaring far beyond the weight of gold. The geography of ruby rarity is centered on two major regions, Myanmar's Mogok Valley and Mozambique's Montepuez mine. Mogok, often referred to as the Valley of Rubies, has been the legendary source of pigeon blood rubies since at least the 6th century. Stones from here show a vivid, pure red with a slight blue undertone, often described as glowing from within. In recent decades, Mozambique emerged as a contender, yielding rubies of striking color and size, though without Mogok's centuries of legend. Together, these two regions dominate the world's supply of fine ruby. Mining rubies is a struggle against both geology and history. In Mogok, extraction was once done by hand in small pits, with miners sifting through marble gravels under blistering heat. Today, while mechanization has expanded capacity, the richest deposits are largely depleted. In Mozambique, large-scale operations extract rubies from hard rock deposits, producing both commercial-grade stones and rare investment-level specimens. Across both regions, the challenge remains the same. For every ton of rock, only a handful of gem-quality rubies appear. Visually, rubies are unmatched in emotional power. The pigeon blood hue is neither too dark nor too light, a vivid red with a subtle hint of blue that gives depth without dullness. Fine stones show exceptional fluorescence under sunlight, making them appear as if lit from within. Sizes above 5 carats, free of fractures and untreated, are scarce. At auctions, such stones often sell for millions per carat, with world records rivaling even the highest prices for diamonds. Why do rubies stand among the top 10 gemstones that beat gold in 2026? Absolute rarity of color and quality. While corundum is common, ruby of true pigeon blood quality is vanishingly rare. The closing of Mogok's richest veins ensures that existing stones rise steadily in value. Historical prestige. From the crowns of Burmese kings to European royal treasuries, rubies have been symbols of power and divine right for over 1,000 years. That cultural legacy multiplies their market appeal. Market dominance. In Geneva and Hong Kong, auction houses continue to report record-breaking ruby sales, with prices per carat outpacing not only gold, but also most other colored gems. In 2026, the ruby's brilliance is not just geological, it is cultural. Unlike gold, which is uniform and divisible, each ruby is unique, carrying its inclusions, fluorescence, and story. This individuality, combined with scarcity, places the ruby at the pinnacle of the gem hierarchy. And if you also find it striking that a red crystal formed under extreme pressure, deep within marble, can now surpass gold in value, share your thoughts in the comments. Would you rather invest in the fiery glow of a pigeon blood ruby or in the steady gleam of bullion? From an archaeological perspective, rubies embody a sense of continuity. They have been revered across civilizations, coveted in ancient temples, medieval courts, and modern auctions alike. Their journey proves that beauty tied to rarity can transcend both time and empire. Do you believe rubies will remain the king of gems in the decades to come? Or could another stone steal their throne in 2026 and beyond? Rank 1. Alexandrite, the stone that changes everything. In the dim light of dawn, it glows green, crisp as an emerald. Under the warmth of a lamp, it turns crimson, alive with the fire of ruby. This is Alexandrite, the gem that changes color and defies certainty. First discovered in Russia's Ural Mountains in the 1830s, it astonished miners and jewelers alike. In 2026, fine Alexandrite remains so rare and so valued that, per carat, it surpasses the worth of gold many times over. The geography of Alexandrite traces back to the Tokovaya River in Russia, where it was first found in emerald mines once worked by serfs. The gem's dramatic color change quickly gave it symbolic power in Imperial Russia, its green and red hues mirroring the military colors of the Tsar. Today, Alexandrite is mined in Sri Lanka, Brazil, India, and Tanzania, but only a fraction of stones display the vivid, dramatic shifts that collectors demand. Most deposits produce material too small or too muted to rival the legends of old. Mining Alexandrite is a gamble. The crystals form in mica schist and pegmatites, often alongside chrysoberyl and emerald. Extracting them requires delicate work, as Alexandrite is brittle and easily fractured. Even when intact, the majority of crystals are opaque or too pale to cut. Finding a transparent gem over 1 carat with a substantial color change is an event that excites entire mining communities. Visually, Alexandrite is unmatched. Its most prized feature is the color change phenomenon. Green to bluish green in daylight, red to purplish red under incandescent light. This dual identity makes it 2 gems in one, a living testament to how trace elements of chromium alter perception. Stones with a sharp, dramatic change are the rarest of all. Large Alexandrites above 5 carats, with perfect transparency and complete color shift, rank among the most coveted gems in history. Why does Alexandrite deserve its place as the #1 gemstone that beats gold in 2026? Sheer rarity of phenomenon. While gold exists in veins across continents, fine Alexandrite is the product of improbable chemistry, where the right conditions for chromium met chrysoberyl at the right geological moment. Collector prestige. Auctions in Geneva, Hong Kong, and New York have seen Alexandrites fetch prices per carat that exceed those of diamonds. For collectors, owning a gem that transforms before their eyes is irresistible. Cultural symbolism. Alexandrite has been tied to luck, duality, and transformation for nearly 2 centuries. In 19th century Russia, it symbolized both war and peace. In the 21st century, it embodies wealth and rarity in their purest form. In 2026, Alexandrite stands as a paradox. It is scarce, fragile, and challenging to identify, yet its mystique elevates it above almost every other gemstone. For investors, it offers not just a store of value, but a spectacle, a performance of color that gold can never match. And if you too are struck by the idea of a stone that changes identity with a flick of light, share your thoughts in the comments. Would you choose the shifting mystery of Alexandrite or the steady, unchanging gleam of gold? From an archaeological perspective, Alexandrite reminds us that rarity is not always about size or weight. Sometimes it is about what cannot be replicated, the fleeting magic of transformation locked inside a crystal. Do you believe Alexandrite's color change legacy will continue to define wealth in the years ahead? Or could another gem steal its place at the top? Thank you for joining me on this journey through the top 10 gemstones that beat gold in 2026. Each of these stones reminds us that actual value isn't always measured in metal. It can be hidden in the rare, the mysterious, and the nearly impossible to find. If you enjoyed this exploration, don't forget to leave a like and consider subscribing to World of Gem. Your support gives me the motivation to keep creating these rare journeys and uncovering more untold stories from the world of gemstones. And make sure you don't miss our next episode. We'll continue the adventure into the realm of mysterious gemstones that history tried to erase. It will be a chapter full of discoveries you won't want to overlook. Until then, thank you again for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in the next episode.